So should we move on
time.
to spoilers?
Can we talk about the very start of this film? Because it fucking wigged me the fuck out. By the way, guys, we're in spoilers now, so
Spoilers.
if you haven't seen this, get
So
out
the
of
entire
here, go
first
watch
sequence?
It. No. So in Rogue One, you know, there was a lot of preamble to Rogue One, like, is there going to be a crawl? Isn't there going to be a crawl?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't get a crawl in Rogue One. And then in this one, we got a crawl, but it wasn't a crawl. It was...
think it's going to be.
It was a long time ago, the same font.
The blue text.
And I was like,
before the
this
yellow
is
scrolling.
so fucking stupid. What are they doing? Like, I was just like, do you guys think this is Blade Runner? Like, when have we ever seen a Star Wars film with this? I thought that was just so fucking rudimentary. And it went back on a previous decision they've done. Just put in the fucking crawl.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
I didn't get that decision at all.
Neither did I. I was more distracted by the fact that they had gone with something that was close but not the same.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, okay, I'll read the shit.
I kind of liked it because it started off like, oh shit, they're just gonna do the da 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 da, but then it's just like, no, we're just doing this now. And I'm like, okay, cool. That does feel like a spin-off to me.
Yeah, for me, but luckily that first scene snapped me in, and I was like, I'm fucking in this.
What was that?
That was him riding around Corellia with Speeder.
I was
cool.
kind of blech for that. Like
I was in, man.
Neither here nor there for me.
There was one shot where they're it was a single camera shot, and it was they're following the Speeder around, and I was like, man, this is fucking brilliant. Like, this is so well put together. I really like that bit. I will say the solo text coming up, the logo
that was
coming
weird.
up.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, like better than Rogue One though. Better than the Rogue One title scenes, because that sucked balls. But one other thing that really stands out to me about that opening sequence is the female alien that's like looking after them, whatever, the giant slug weird thing.
Again.
Fucking loved that, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Brilliant, man.
Something really different.
Really different.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a Lord and Miller. It had really evoked a Lord and Miller vibe for whatever
Do you know
reason.
what Alien really unsettled me? It was the singing one in the jar. I didn't like that.
I loved that,
I
man.
didn't like that. Like, that actually made me uncomfortable. I was like,
I loved that.
I don't know about that. Yeah, is that first sequence? I like how they set it up. I like the stakes that they set, that he's trying to get the girl back type thing. It was a bit annoying that you knew that that's not how it was going to play out because trailers. But yeah, so
yeah, I just wanted to comment on that opening.
I'm gonna go
and how strong it was.
I'm gonna go back because I've been dying to talk about this. This is what's starting to really annoy me about this film. The more I think about it, is the ending. I know, like, we're gonna start with the ending, just to throw in typical me, is it?
Okay, let's go.
I didn't like it. I did not like how he effectively started the rebellion. I thought that was so stupid. I was just hoping that they don't say it.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about it that
was
way.
one of those lines where it's like, we're starting a rebellion. He's like, and do you want to join? He's like, nah. He's like, well, maybe one day.
Yeah,
maybe.
and I was like, you know what? I don't need that.
And yeah,
like,
I think that's worse than anything in Rogue One, but it didn't bother me as much as Rogue One stuff somehow.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
because it was, I guess, relevant to the film in a way, but like so not relevant, or like so not needed, so unnecessary.
Yeah, just making the universe smaller.
Like, why are you doing that? That's not, like, I hated the fact that they're trying to say that Han. I didn't like the whole Han is a good guy, deep down at heart type thing. Like, I don't know why. I just thought that I would have rather had it as a straight heist movie.
No, they sold
They sold that better than I was expecting.
Because obviously coming into a movie that's a prequel to a movie where a character has such a clearly defined arc that works so well, that could have been done really poorly, I feel. And I like the notion that, as you get the sense of in A New Hope, that he's a good guy and maybe he's gone down a weird path and he's always trying to convince people that he's a scoundrel, but he's a decent dude. And I think they just balanced that well in this movie.
Yeah, I think they sold that, man.
Yeah.
I really think they sold that. But
They didn't sell it up until the third act.
Yeah, and that's part of the journey. But I think less so that bugged me about the ending, and just the fact that, like, like how is this wrapping up? Where are we going with this? It was like,
so,
who's the bad guy? Who's the good
where
guy?
are the loyalties? What's Kira doing?
Yeah.
What's
So
Ed doing?
there's more to that. So that was one aspect of the thing that I did not understand Kira's motivations. That was really vague, and I didn't like the way that they capped that off.
Vague for a specific reason that we'll get into next. That's
Yeah,
a very interesting one.
I didn't quite understand, like, the stakes came into it so late and were so obscure that, like, basically they're like, oh, the crime syndicate's bad people. I'm like, well, no fucking shit.
Yeah, crime syndicate.
Yeah, like, what do you mean they're bad people? Of course they're bad people. You can't just have a change of heart now because you found out that your criminal overlords are on the wrong side of the law or whatever. And I think that they were trying to say that they're implicit in genocide or something. I don't know. But, like, it just didn't come across as really, why are you suddenly so willing to give up your treasure for this? Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and then right at the end, you get all your major players kind of changing alliances and turning against each other and trying to team up with new people.
That.
I didn't dislike it, but I was still. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I guess like when
I didn't care.
Why didn't Woody Harrelson kill Paul Bettany when he was leaving? Like, this guy's been the biggest problem in your entire life, and he's obviously going to come after you.
Yeah,
if you don't kill him, just kill him.
I predicted that when he walked off that he was going to betray them.
I mean, you get that from the trailer when he's like, never trust anyone.
Oh yeah,
and you'll never feel betrayed. I'm like, okay,
Woody.
Well, okay, Woody.
I wonder
why would you say a thing like that, Woody?
There was that exact line has come from another movie that I always remember the line. I can't remember. It's like Mission Impossible or something. Where no, it's Indiana Jones. It's where she says, "Don't trust anyone." And she goes, "Well, I did tell you to not trust anyone." I think that's what it's from. Anyways, yeah, that entire capping off of that film just really shat me.
I liked the last scene though between him and Woody, when they just kind of got guns on each other on the
him
cliff,
shooting first,
and then he just shoots him. Yeah,
yeah. I liked how he shot first. It was like a bit of a fuck you, George Lucas.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I liked it as well.
But yeah, I totally know what you mean, man. Like the
and
plot
Darth
threads
Maul
didn't come together. Okay, I fucking like that, man. Just purely because I'm a
hold
Darth Maul fan.
on. This is the huge thing we're going to talk about here. Is the cameo, the most ridiculous connection to the Star Wars universe that I don't think anyone predicted. That Darth Maul shows up in this movie.
So there's a couple things I have wrong with that. One, it's just such a weird tone shift to like, by the way, we're back in the and how it is somehow a major motivator for one of the characters, but is just not explored. I hated that. I did not like that they just had a major play in the end of this film that bears no.
So yeah, it's kind of a big twist that his love interest Kira is like in league with Darth Maul.
Yeah, like that seemed like such a
Maul,
gotcha moment. I'm like, well, fuck you. Like,
it's like, okay, we've got these 5 characters that we can bring in. Who are we going to pick? You know, and that's what it felt like to me.
This is what the people want. One of these guys.
I said this to you guys afterwards. Like when Darth Maul first turned up, I was like, "What? Wait, is this before the Phantom Menace?" Like, I fucking wigged the fuck out for a second. I was like, "Oh yeah, he's got his metal legs." You know, Rebels, Clone Wars, yada yada.
Because he's canon in this Star Wars continuity as being alive after the Phantom Menace.
That's the other thing that really annoyed me. You have to have watched an animated series to get that. So they like, I mean,
I can give you the episodes you need to watch.
Yeah, but I mean, you should be able to watch the films and not be completely and utterly confused if you haven't watched what is, an animated film like that. That shouldn't.
I don't think people have too much of a problem with it.
Well, I mean, like,
they'll just be like,
I think you're underestimating that because you don't
guy.
understand what happened. Like, I immediately, because I haven't watched the shows, I started trying to figure out what the timeline was and about like, I thought it was a different. I didn't think it was Darth Maul.
Because there's a bit where the light came up on his face, and he has a brother in Rebels who's yellow, and I was like, "Oh, is that the other dude?" Oh no, it's Darth Maul.
But yeah, I don't think that's a good.
I know what you mean.
For a motivator or for an interaction with a major character that influences something that happens, I don't think that's a good enough excuse.
I think you're in a very specific midpoint, though. I think the people who don't know won't be too bothered by it. I think the people who do know will blow their friggin' minds.
Do you think... I guess this is more of a, is there going to be a Solo 2? But, if they address this in a future film...
It'll be in the new animated series, almost certainly, right?
No, I think this will be a movie thing. I think it'll either be the next Solo movie or the hell they could do a goddamn Darth Maul movie. People are
Please
asking
tell me
for
they're
that.
not gonna do it.
Or I think very likely it could be the Kenobi film.
Maybe the Kenobi film.
But Kenobi film will be set after. No, it'll be set now. Yes. We can,
Right
we
now.
Can we can do
It'll
that.
be set in 2018.
We can make this happen, guys.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's call Lucasfilm.
Yeah, see again, I think that these Star Wars stories, I think one of the things that made this successful is that it stayed away, or when I felt like it was being the most successful is when it stayed away from the Star Wars continuity, whatever you want to call it, like the main storyline.
Yeah,
and it was just its own thing, which I thought was like, oh, cool. And the prospect of like a further film that is kind of halfway in between that doesn't appeal to me.
It was.
I don't know what I want now, though,
funny
because I didn't want this to begin with.
watching this, especially not having Harrison Ford in it, but it having be a solo thing. It felt like a lot of the time it felt like it was just a different movie, not a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
but starring
like a cool sci-fi,
but starring Chewbacca as
in
the movie as well. It's like a different character or something.
Yeah, weird mashup.
Yeah. I think. I'll be honest. I think they kind of nailed, for the most part, that aspect of it. I was really impressed with that. They didn't throw in unnecessary nostalgia into that. It was just very much like, this is how he got his start.
You know what I would have liked to have seen more of in this film is him joining the Empire and kind of following that thread a little bit more, because we had that great scene where he sees the television. It's like, join the Empire, and we've got that theme coming through. I thought that was really fun. But and then it just flashes to 3 years ahead, and I didn't feel like we got.
Was that 3 years ahead?
Yeah, it was 3 years later.
I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, so I felt like
really
it was
helpful.
I felt like it was like 1 month later,
because that was an issue I had. Yeah, it's like
3 months later.
I think
not seeing that. I was like, has it been 6 months? And then he runs into her again. It's like, oh, didn't you just? So that's.
I think they could have gone into that, like, training. I don't know. I want to see more on the Empire.
No.
I want to see it.
I thought the stuff we saw was awesome.
This is economic storytelling at its best.
That was very cool.
You don't need that. I don't like it when audiences are spoon-fed shit, and they might think they want it, but I don't think that audiences...
No, because then why put that in at all? They could have figured out another way for him to join the team. Like, he didn't necessarily have to join
that. I like the idea that he's obviously at.
But do you think it influenced him enough? Like, do you think he seemed like he'd been in the Empire for 3 years? My answer to that is no.
I did not get the impression that much time had passed, but I like that it is how much time passed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Make it like a week, or make it like the first time he's gone out. Don't make it 3 years later. I need more.
Why?
I need more meat.
Why?
To that. Because then what's the point of making that happen? How has the Empire changed him?
Why does he want to have changed, or time needs to have gone on because his love interest needs to, like, there's a lot that's happened with her, obviously, and she's changed.
Yeah, more for her, I think, was the...
So there needs to be time that's moved on with that.
You can eventually do that. You can make that happen.
He needs to learn how to be a pilot. That's the whole point, is that he did.
Let's do that more. Let's see.
But see, people think that montages are kind of cool, but they're not actually economic storytelling. If you can get away without it, get away without it, and that's exactly what they did in this.
I wanted more, and I think I see what you're saying.
George,
economic
storytelling,
economic storytelling, yada yada yada. But I want to see more on the Empire. I want to see more behind the scenes stuff there. We don't get to see a lot of that.
See, this is exactly what we're talking about. I didn't want that stuff from this film. I didn't want them to be going into like.
But you're in that
the
time
inner
period. Let's explore it. Let's explore it.
I think what they did with the invasion scene was perfect. It gave them this is the early Empire. This is when they're actually putting out their influence. I thought that was a perfect way.
I love that scene. Yeah, loved it.
I think that's a perfect way to explain where the Empire is, how he fits into it, where the world is at. Again, really economic storytelling. I don't think a montage of him learning how to be a pilot.
A montage. I just wanted.
How else are you going to do it then? How are you going to show 3 years going by? Like a full scene of him in a classroom or him in a simulation actually flying or some shit? I think
there's a million ways
horrible.
You could do it. There's a million ways you could do it.
You've
just got to have a creative mind to be able to think about that.
It's such a patronizing bullshit statement as well. Like, I mean, like, that's just not a thing.
Yeah,
like, I don't think you can do that effectively.
And that's a nitpick. As I said, I really like that scene. It felt like you were in World War II or something. Like, it was a trench scene. Way better than Rogue One. Fuck Rogue One.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Rogue One.
Of course it does. It was like that military World War II.
Like real
handheld
ground troops
in the trenches, and I thought they did it way better in that scene.
I thought they did it better, yeah, and that was one of the strengths, I think, of Rogue One. And I thought this actually did it better, which really speaks to the strength of the direction of this film, which is not something I expected to say about this movie.
Yeah. What other things?
So the Chewbacca's meeting scene.
Oh, loved it.
First, yeah. It didn't even occur to me that it was Chewbacca until like he stepped out. I'm like, oh yeah, of course.
I love the Rancor scene in Return of the Jedi, and I think they kind of tapped into that a little bit with this, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and I loved, like, obviously Han Solo knowing a bit of Wookiees.
Did you get a little bit cringy
funny
during that, or did you?
No, I thought it was
that?
Great. I like that, and that makes sense. That's why they would start a relationship, because he's actually able to communicate with
I would have loved to have seen that scene with Lord and Miller. Like, how would they have put that together? Because I feel like there would have been so much weird banter, or just some weird
subtitles
shit.
would have been a bit wilder.
The squid monster was something that I thought that I was going to really hate in this film.
The Kessel Run.
I actually kind of enjoyed it.
I love the Kessel Run in this,
I thought that was really impressive. Like, I loved how they figured out how to do parsecs as a measurement of time. I thought that was really... Did you pick up on that?
Not at all, no.
So the whole idea that this is the way that they did it is that you can't just go a straight line. At least this is how I took it. You can't do a straight line in the Kessel Run. Because it's through a maelstrom, you have to plot a course that's going to take you longer because you have to go for more distance, right? If you go, the straighter you go, obviously the quicker you're going to go, but obviously the less distance you're going to travel. So if you do it in a straighter line, which is really impressive, then it brings down your measurement.
It's like as
distance.
the crow flies.
They got it to a point where it's ambiguous. Like, it could be the actual version of parsecs at that point.
Because that's always been the issue. The measurement of time or whatever.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really clever way of doing that.
I like that.
And visually, all of it I thought was just stunning. Yeah. Like, it looked good in the trailer, but it was just so... I love the monster.
You know what image sticks in my mind as just really spectacular is the big...
Gravity well,
but the like the flesh peeling off
that
of
was
the thing.
cool.
That was like, oh fuck, that's cool.
The only CG work in this that kind of bugged me, was that where you saw the full reveal of the creature. I think it worked better when it was kind of like how kind of Guillermo del Toro did the big squid thing in Hellboy 1. It's like you can't even comprehend the size of this thing. There's no edge to it. And I think then it just became this little squid monster. And I was like,
I get you. Yeah.
I wanted it to be like this gargantuan, Lovecraftian, unknowable thing, like Cthulhu or something.
I like it. I dug it. But following up from that, I love the bit where they put the fuel into the reactor or something, and it's that shot of it like exploding and like going all the way back through to the boosters.
Lando's line in that was probably one of the best. Of like, oh shit! Or I can't even remember what he said, but it was just like I felt like a genuine moment of joy at that. Yeah. Any other kind of moments that really stood out?
Lando's.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Lando's sexuality was awesome because it was
banging robots,
very ambiguous. Which I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, he was
fits the character,
flirting with everyone on legs. I love that. That's such a cool place for that character to be. Yeah. And there's just this weird hint at that history between him and his robot co-pilot.
That's very weird.
Which I fucking love. I think that's so cool and works really well from a humor perspective and from an emotional perspective. Surprisingly enough.
Harrison Ford, Woody Harrelson's wife's sacrificing scene.
So little emotional impact for me on that.
It was short but quick, and I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Like that they're going that direction with that character. Thought it was interesting.
I thought the scene was good. I don't think they capitalized on it necessarily.
They didn't milk it. It just kind of happened. It was done, and they moved on.
Yeah, and I think by the end, the fact that he was affected so little by it could have been intentionally, like, just a hint to the fact that he's just a scumbag and he's going to betray everyone.
Yeah.
And I guess in that way, it kind of works. But that that train sequence, I think overall was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was a cool sequence.
Especially just that explosion at the end when they set that thing off and they're flying away from it. God damn, that was cool.
Oh, that was it's loud as
the
fuck.
water, and then it kind of We went back in and did another one.
Interesting, really
Guys,
interesting.
we haven't fucking talked about him coming up with his name.
Ah,
No, someone else goes, some random Imperial coming up with his name.
Okay.
yeah, whatever.
For me, that was the moment where I was like, okay, is this film going to go this way?
Yeah.
Or is it going to go that way?
You have had your first strike.
Yeah.
And I am warning you.
Don't
like
do this.
They were coming off the coattails of having like the Imperial March, as a little light up thing, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a point for that. And I immediately took it away when they did like Solo. I was like, nope, you just are in that.
If for some reason you don't know what it is, he's signing up to be an Imperial Empire guy. And he's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Han." He's like, "What's your last name? Who are your people?" He's like, "I don't have any people." And he's like, "Han Solo." Gotcha.
That didn't quite make sense to me. I was like, "There's is Skywalker a people then?"
This could just be a
the naming convention,
a synonym for surname.
But it could be a specific thing on his planet.
Yeah, it did actually make me interested into the naming conventions in this universe. I was like, oh, that's a cool way
Corellia
of
in particular.
kind of
it didn't bother me, but I can see how, and that's the ultimate example of just a lot of points in this film that I think could make this a very divisive one for people. Because the way you reacted to that one specifically in the cinema, George,
I was like, no, bro.
It didn't bother me. I thought it was kind of cute.
You know what would have been funny? And I think, Lord and Miller maybe have gone down this path as like, Han orphan, Han by yourself. Like all these different variations, just like boom, boom, boom. And he's just like, fuck you, man. Let me in.
Get Solo.
I could have allowed that because there would have been a point to it, and it could have but just him saying,
just him being like, Solo. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, man.
Yeah, I could definitely see people have taken issue with it. Didn't bother me at all.
But the rest of the movie won me over enough. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I would say that the fact that the movie, I think the movie is quite strong in that you can come out of it liking it, even though it has all of those hammed in moments. Yeah.
Final thing I want to bring up is card scene with Lando. I love those scenes.
Sabak.
There's two of them.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Fun. Very much fun.
Yeah, especially just the aliens sitting around the table. Fucking
brilliant.
I'll say there's any scene with Lando I thought was really good. Yeah.
And that was a cool little twist ending to that scene because you just assume he's going to win the Millennium Falcon because we all know that's how it happened to Game of Sabak. And it's just going to twist back on itself, and we see that Lando's a cheater. He's a damn dirty cheater. And that pays off in a brilliant way right at the end.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
I liked that ending. I thought that was really... I liked how the Wookiee ripped off people's arms. Like, actually did that. And I was like, again, these are moments that I didn't think... I didn't want to see all these nostalgia moments that have been referenced and all that. But when it actually happened, somehow the movie pulled it off because it was relevant. I was like, okay, I'll give a lot of these a pass.
Yeah.
But that ending,
did
man.
It in a way that worked.
Fuck, we've fucking reviewed fucking Solo.
Wow,
Solo, yeah.
Fucking Solo, man.
I'm so impressed with this film in that it wasn't a train wreck. Like I don't know who to blame or congratulate or
and we never will,
nobody.
Which is a bummer. We'll never find out.
This is always the problem. It's whether it's Justice League or it's Solo or there's another one recently that had a switch of director or something. Like you'll never be able to tell who you can contribute. Like it's hard enough to tell who the main contributor for any film is.
And let alone when there's a change in roles.
And you'll just never know. Like you can't just take two films and compare them side to side, which I'd love to do.
As we said, we went to the premiere of this, and there was a short little recorded message from Ron Howard at the beginning.
Oh, there was. I'd forgotten.
Just saying, a lot of other people worked on this. Wink, wink. For all the prop designers and set people and costuming and effects and I leaned over to George. I said, "There's no way Ron Howard was involved in any of that stuff. Like he came in so late of the game. Like that stuff would have all been set in stone.
Oh, all the Kessel Run, all that CG work. That's happening from
day one. Especially in a movie this polished looking.
Fuck, man.
Yeah,
holy, it looked good.
All the aliens in the Sabak scene. That's all Lord and Miller. And I think. I don't know if I'm cognitive bias here, but I feel like I can see their aesthetic in some of the design choices.
And they got EP credit, so that's good at least.
Yeah. Final thoughts, guys?
The more I talk about it, the more I kind of like this movie. So, but as I said, I'm not rearing to go watch it again. And actually, we were pretty scathing on Deadpool 2, and I'm more keen to go see that again than this one.
Yeah,
and I feel like we were more negative on that one, but for different reasons. So I think this is a win. I think.
Well, I think we were more negative on Deadpool because it reached higher.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy, but in terms of where the Star Wars story future holds, do I want to see a Kenobi film?
Well, you're going to
probably.
The Darth Maul bit, fucking as ridiculous as it was, it kind of made me go like,
Kenobi's happening.
Rogue One didn't make me want to see any more Star Wars stories. That movie was so contained and so finite and such a small connection to the rest of the thing, and I didn't like it very much. But this one, I'm like, I enjoyed this a lot, and there's just a little bit of that Marvel hint to something else happening. I'm like, and I want to see that now. I want to see the spin-off from this.
That's a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
That's what that should have been.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this film a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it did some things really well that a Star Wars story should do. It is a good heist film. The more I think about it, though, that ending really pissed me off, and it's degraded the rest of the film. Like, I think I'd be up with you, Ben, if it weren't for that ending.
The bit I disliked probably more than the, we're starting a rebellion thing was when she was like, go after Chewie, you need him and he needs you.
I was like, all right, she's obviously leaving you, bro. Like, just
not even that. Just the fact that, like, just because the universe demands that it's Han and Chewie together. It's like, all right, fine.
Yeah, I think they could have, like, I would be happy putting this on and switching it off at the end of the Kessel Run. Done.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy there.
Done.
Okay, final question before we wrap this up. Do you want to see a Solo trilogy?
No.
Yes or no?
Jesus Christ, no. Take it easy on the table, George.
It's going to break in half. Yeah.
Look, I think they got away with murder with this film. Under no circumstances should they try and do another one. It makes zero sense.
I like this more than 2/3 of the previous Disney Star Wars movies. I would happily watch another like Han and Chewie adventure with a bit of Donald Glover in there. I really enjoyed this. I can't wait to see it again. Where it kind of finishes up on my Star Wars rankings, I cannot say, and I do not want to guess at because I will get in trouble, I think.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed this, and I would happily watch Alden Ehrenreich return to the role.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you, Connor. I think it's one and done. Like, let's call it a day. But if they get the right people on, which they won't, maybe a trilogy could work. But I think, as you said, Gone Away with Murder, I think that's a pretty good way to sum this up. Well, guys, that's it. Solo, it's all over. Podcast is done. We're all wrapped up.
Never have to talk about another movie.
Yeah. I don't know. What the fuck are we going to talk about now that Infinity War and Solo's done? I don't know. We're going to have to find some content. Well, guys, we'll be back next week for the Weekly Movies Show. And don't forget to check out our Deadpool 2 review, of course. And who will be here? The boys, Connor.
See ya.
And